Hello there.
You know what I've come for. This is the way.
I am a Jedi, like my father before me.
Hello and welcome back to the Pod Awakens as we talk the book of Boba Fett, what I like to call the good book. And with me today, well, I'm Jordan Weekend, but with me today is, of course, Logan Stump. How are you today, Logan?
I am not the co-host you're looking for.
Damn, I guess I'll end this here.
I'm great.
Never mind. All right.
I am healthy and happy, so I guess I can't complain. So there's a lot worse out there right now.
So far, you're healthy and happy.
Yeah, right. That we know of.
But we're going to be talking Chapter 2, The Tribes of Tatooine, directed by Steph Green, written by Jon Favreau, and premiering January 5th of 2020 on Disney+. The synopsis is Boba faces new challengers on Tatooine. Initial thoughts, Logan?
I thought it was brilliant. It seems like everything that happens with these everything that happens with these Disney Plus shows is just fantastic in my opinion. I don't know. It seems like as the episodes progress throughout the series, it gets better and better. It's the same thing with The Mandalorian. I think that they've done a really good job of incorporating, not forcing things, but really incorporating the different characters and maybe other characters that we don't know that are out there in the galaxy. And I know there's a couple that I was really fascinated with, and I know you probably know a lot more as to who they are. But I was really fascinated just to understand, more characters coming in. And as the episodes progress, it just seems like they're getting better and better with each episode. So it really was. It was really well done. I thought we got exactly the backstory that I wanted with the Tusken Raiders. So when we get into that a little bit more, it was everything that I wanted the last episode. I just wanted more background onto how he became who he was currently in these episodes that we're starting to see. And he does have some cool flashbacks, which was awesome.
Yeah, I really enjoyed this episode.
Mm-hmm.
I'll say there's been a few people that I don't really understand online that are there were some people that liked the first episode a lot and was underwhelmed by this one. And then there was a lot of people that did not like the first one that really thought this one was better. I'm in the camps of just both of these episodes were great. And then, of course, there's some people that just don't like Disney Star Wars so much that they didn't like either of these episodes and are nitpicking with stuff like, Boba Fett doing the, teaching them how to ride the thing and, doing the vroom, vroom, go thing. People were laughing at that, saying that was the problem with Disney Star Wars. And I was like, I don't even know what you're talking about.
No.
But besides all that, I mean, it was another really great episode, and I felt myself, I would say in the first episode, I was not as attached to the flashbacks. I was more like, let's see some present story. And in this one, I was more like, I love these flashbacks. So I think there's been kind of like the strength so far for me has been, episode 1 had a great opening in present day, and I think that the flashback stuff in this one was really strong.
I agree. I saw a lot of that too. I saw a lot on Twitter and stuff, a lot of blowback, and some of my kids watch it, so there was some blowback too about episode 2. They said it was boring. It was lackluster. It was not interesting to them. I thought it was funny. I thought it was a way.
What grade do you teach again?
9th and 11th. So These were my 11th graders.
So I can see that for kids, honestly, like 11-year-olds, not 11-year-olds. I mean, 11th graders, even being a little bit more bored by this, because I feel like at that age you're like, I want action. But this is such a great character episode that I think would be appreciated more as it goes on. I mean, I liked the prequels as a kid too, but I think I actually enjoyed them more as an adult because of the political stuff in the prequels. And I think as a kid and a high schooler, you're like, this sucks. I want like lightsaber battles. And I think that this, like, I think this episode could kind of go the same way, where people are like, I want like action. And I think this has great action though too. The train stuff.
I was gonna say the train stuff. I mean, I guess it's part of the train, but when he goes into that car or that car, part of the train, and it's like, or no, was that at the station? Because I like blanked out there. I guess we'll talk about it.
That was Tashi Station, where Luke wanted to go for power converters in episode 4. Yeah.
So. But I'm sure we'll.
But yeah, so let's dig a little deeper. As what Princess and the Frog would say, right? Isn't that what movie that's from? So we kind of open up where we left off with, you know, Boba and Fennec Shan interrogating the captured assassin. The assassin. This part is great, I think, where, you know, Boba wanted them alive. And I saw a lot of people complaining again that Boba wouldn't want to keep somebody alive. Obviously, he wanted them alive because, one, he's a changed man, but two, I mean, he needs to find out who's hiring this. And we kind of talked about that last week. Like, that's obviously why he wants this person alive. He wants to know who is hiring these people to take out Boba Fett, take out himself. So in this, I like, you know, they got the Gamorrean guards with the you know, like knife or whatever it's called there, sword, something like that, ready to, you know, take off the guy's head. They're obviously not going to do that because he still hadn't talked, right? So I think that guy knows that too. The guy is like, whatever. And he's also supposed to be this tough guy that's not going to break and not going to, you know, give up his employer. But then they pull the Rancor move, which I thought was really great because the audience knows the Rancor is dead. So you're kind of in on the joke with Boba here. And at first, you know, you're thinking, well, maybe they've replaced the Rancor, but you're like, this is a brilliant move to scare this assassin who's not scared of dying, but maybe he's scared of this big Rancor chewing him up. I don't know. Like, I think it's a little scarier than just like, okay, well, if this is how I go out, getting my head chopped off, whatever, than being faced with a monster like a Rancor. And I think that's where, as the gate slowly opening, you know, and he's like, no. And he's like, okay, I was hired by the mayor, Malk Shaiz, who is the Ithorian mayor of Mos Espa, and the door fully opens and we see there's no Rancor and just a rat in there. But what was your thoughts when they do this part?
So I loved Fennec's line when she turns to it and goes, "You're basically just paying for the name of the company that has the assassin." So it's like it starts out humorous, and again, I think a lot of people they get like this impression that these characters have to remain the same. Like, you can't have character development. Like, you can't progress as a character from going from somebody that's out there to hunt you down and get you in a crime ring to being one that rules with respect. And honestly, I think he's trying to do everything right. So he's trying to find a way to rule with some kind of authority, but not try to terrify and terrorize different people. So I think that was pretty cool. So this is an awesome scene. I loved the little rat because it was just like, that's pretty funny because it did look like the assassin's like, oh my gosh, I'm going to die. This is it for me. And Fennec's just like, yeah, you're just paying for them. And these guys aren't really what they claim to be. And I think she's saying it too. She's more of an assassin in the sense. So it's more like, I'm kind of the same thing, and I kind of have the same job title, but you're just honestly paying for the name. But it was kind of a play on what life is like here on Earth. So it was pretty funny.
Yeah, and I think you nailed it with people think these characters shouldn't change. I kept seeing this on Twitter about why is Boba Fett not acting like Boba Fett? And one thing we got to know is we barely know Boba Fett. When you look at, I did this whole road to Book of Boba Fett. Attack of the Clones, we know him as a punk little kid who's a clone of Jango. We see him kind of evolve from that. But then in the original trilogy, he's literally just a background character. He doesn't really talk much. All that stuff is in people's head just because he looked cool. And yes, he could have been that way, but these experiences that we're going to see in the flashbacks are what's changing him. He's learning, not that he was never respectful. I mean, look, he didn't want to kill Solo, right? He knew that Han was worth more to him alive than dead. He wasn't, even though Vader says no disintegrations this time, Boba was obviously not going to disintegrate Han Solo. He needed him to show Jabba. And let's not forget, he disintegrated somebody last week, with his gauntlet, the guy that's running away, climbing up the wall. He disintegrates him, blows him up. So obviously, he's not against some of the stuff he used to do. He's just more about respect. And we think, as we talked about last week, that he learned this from the Tuscans. And also I saw people complaining about how many times he takes off his helmet in this episode. Boba Fett was never somebody that just kept it on all the time. The only way we know that is because that's what usual Mandalorians do. But if you look at the actual movies and stuff, as a kid, he doesn't have a helmet on. In the Clone Wars, he doesn't wear a helmet. It's not until episode 5 that we see him, and he's literally in like 3 minutes of screen time. So obviously, he's not going to constantly be taking that thing off in those 3 minutes. They also probably hadn't cast an actual screen actor for them to for them to do that, So I think we have to kind of let go of this notion of what Boba Fett is or who Boba Fett is and kind of start taking that this is who Boba Fett is. He may have always ruled with respect. If not, he learned it here. And we're probably going to figure that out as we go through these episodes. But he's going to take off his helmet. Mandalorians, other than our main Mandalorian and his clan, took off their helmets all the time. We saw Bo-Katan take off hers. And obviously, the character is more interesting with the helmet off and getting to see their expressions. There's so many good expressions and stuff that Boba does in this as when he's with the Tuscans that would have been just like expressionless.
Right.
Not that you can't act with with your body, but some of this stuff needs to be conveyed with the eyes and the face.
Right. And I thought there was a good portrayal of emotion through Din, but that's totally different. I felt like Boba Fett needed, like you needed him to be able to be seen. Like I felt like you needed Boba to be seen and his facial expressions. Plus, there's a lot to do with his face. Like I noticed that they've really, like when he's in the desert, when it kind of goes back to when he's in the sand with the sand people, or the Tusken Raiders. It's like if you watch it, his skin's like real dried out and he looks worn and beaten up. And I think you can't really convey that with if he had the helmet on and he's just walking around with the helmet. And I don't know, he's without his stuff. He's without his gear. He's without his helmet and the vest guard. And it's like he's not got that stuff with him. So I think that he's trying to kind of survive without it, and he's got to learn how to survive without it. I think he's trying to think, I can be who I want to be without having to put the suit on.
Right. And look, we didn't see Boba Fett all the time. He probably took that thing off all the time. We didn't follow him 24/7 in the original trilogy.
Yeah.
So they go and take the assassin. They're from like the Assassins of the Night Wind or something. They're going to take him to the mayor, and the mayor denies any involvement, but he makes sure his people make sure that guy's dead before that guy can really say, no, the mayor did hire me. So it's really just the mayor's word at this point. And while he seems to be leading him into the right direction with the Hutts, I still don't fully believe this mayor. What about you? You think this guy isn't behind this?
Yeah, I think he's selling crock. I just don't think that he's got. I don't know. It just didn't seem like he was telling the truth. And then the Hutts kind of acted weird too. So I was kind of like, something felt fishy about it. And then the fact that, like what you said, the fact that you kill him so quickly that he can't tell you what's really going on behind the scenes. Something's fishy, and it was a little too quick in my book. And the fact that they weren't, like, he obviously wasn't busy. And then that clerk gives him a lot of trouble at the desk about having an appointment. He's like, I don't need an appointment. You don't tell a crime lord he needs an appointment. That was my favorite part. He goes, what is your reasoning? And he goes, this is my ticket in, basically.
Yeah, and he's like, who are you? He's like, come on.
You've heard about me. Come on. So no, it was good. But you're right. I can't trust the mayor. Still don't. And
I love this here. This shows that Boba's not the same, as we'll hear here. Here. The mayor gives him payment for the bounty of the assassin.
Mm-hmm.
And Boba says, I'm not a bounty hunter anymore. He's, in his mind, he's elevated. He's a crime boss. He's not doing bounty hunter stuff anymore. But it really shows that this is not the same Boba Fett. He's no longer doing bounty work. He wants a bigger piece of the pie. He might think that he has the capability to make Mos Espa and Tatooine as a whole better with the way that he's going to run with respect. But he still takes the money, but he says, I'll take this as the tribute that you should have paid me last time, which I thought was a really good move by Boba.
Mm-hmm.
And the mayor tells him to go visit the sanctuary. That is where Garsa Fwip is. That was the lady Twi'lek who runs the cantina with Max Rebo playing, and the droid from Star Tours is there, or one of those type of droids. And Fwip is going to inform Boba that two of Jabba's cousins, known as the twins, want to claim Jabba's throne for themselves. Now, this is the first appearance of the twins. They haven't really been in anything else. So these are brand new Hutts. And then you start hearing the bang drum, and you're thinking, maybe Prince Ali is here. But no, it is the cousins of Jabba Fett. I was going to say Jabba the Hutt. Coming in, and man, this thing, you can see it's
bowing.
Is bowing, and you feel so sorry for the people that have to carry the Hutts here. But I thought they looked pretty great. I mean, we really haven't seen a great Hutt since Return of the Jedi. Like, Jabba in like Phantom Menace doesn't look great. Are they in anything else? I don't know if they are, but I thought they looked pretty good, especially for a TV show. I thought this looked really great. And they arrive, and they try to intimidate Boba. And they introduce a Wookiee in his live-action debut. So this is a Wookiee that's been around in the comics. His name is Black Chrysanthemum. And he is another bounty hunter. He's worked with Boba in the past. He's a Wookiee bounty hunter that first appeared in the Marvel comic series Star Wars Darth Vader. First appearance was Darth Vader #1. That was February 11th, 2015. And he also currently appears in the ongoing Dr. Aphra series. Dr. Aphra was a character introduced in Darth Vader, was popular, and she became her own spin-off comic, and then Black Chrysanthemum went there. I'm not too familiar with him. I mean, I've seen him in some of the Darth Vader stuff I've read, but I haven't read any of the Dr. Aphra stuff. But he looks really cool in live action. What was your thoughts here? Because like I saw him and I knew right away who this was. There was also rumors of him appearing in the show beforehand anyway. But as somebody that maybe doesn't read the comics, Logan, what was your thought here as you saw for the first time a Black Wookiee and who's ginormous? He's got to be bigger than Chewbacca.
He looks like the Ray Lewis of Wookiees. He's just got this like really intimidating snarl, like because you can hear him kind of going as he's walking, and it's going to that beat of the drum. And the cool part is like I think what sets it up completely is the camera angle in which it comes in from behind him, and it's like following him along the side of the huts as he's coming around to basically be like, because the huts go, well, if you're not going to hand over it, then we're going to have our Wookiee take it from you. So when he walks around that side, and he like, I don't know how they did it, but they made him look like he was built like a rock. He was just ginormous. And I think the scariest part, there's a part where he stands over beside Boba Fett, and he's standing there, and he's holding like the gun, and he's looking down, and then he all of a sudden he like turns his head towards Boba, and he's got like this nasty looking snarl on his face, and it made me scared. And I'm 28 years old. I was watching this, and I'm going, he's got like this really scary, and I think because his eyes pop because his fur is like black. I think when he has eyes pops and he's got like these nasty looking teeth. It really is. It's terrifying. So I loved it, and I'm excited to see where they take it because I feel like he's going to be the big bad along with the Hutts going forward. So he's going to have, issues with Fennec will probably end up having to kill him, but like I think he's like one of those side villains that are just impossible to tear down because he looks like a brick wall. But I loved it. I want like a painting of him. So I'm hoping like at the Festival of the Arts, like that they, by the end of it, they have like this portrait of him because it's really cool.
Yeah, he does look really cool, and I think he looks great. I mean, like if you look at him in comics, he looks like a Black Wookiee. He's got everything that's going on there, but I mean, he just looks. Sometimes it's hard to translate this stuff into a live action medium. Mm-hmm. But so far, I feel like they've been doing a really great job with like Ahsoka from cartoon to live action. We now have a comic book character coming in from it. Like, Favreau and Filoni are like tying in all of this stuff that people thought would not ever be acknowledged, really. And I think they're doing such a good job with it that, like, it's crazy. Like, you can now go read those comics and be like, okay, so this was Black Chrysanthemum's like storyline before we see him in the Book of Boba Fett. And I think that's really cool because for some people, it's just, for some people, it's just going to be, oh, this guy looks really cool. Great. There's going to be some people that are really into this guy that they're going to be like, where else can I see this guy? And then you realize you have all this other stuff to read and all that. And I just think the way that they've been able to weave in stuff from the cartoons and from the comics and from the novels, like Cobb Vanth coming in from the novels, like it really feels like a synergy and a cohesive universe that wasn't ever really felt before. So I do really appreciate them doing that. And that's like all of the present day storyline. We're going to go back to Boba going into the Bacta again. And he's going to remember when the Tuskens taught him the style of their combat and the survival skills. And kind of early on in here, then we see what I thought was going to be a crate dragon, like the premiere of Mandalorian Season 2, but then it turned out to be the train coming. And I thought this was a great time here too, because, people always talk about how Star Wars is like a Western. This really felt like a Western of, the guy coming in to help take down a train, almost like a train robbery at times, like, but for good. And it just was like, it really felt Western-y. And I thought Tamora Morrison, does such a good job as Boba Fett. And remember, this is a character he never really played. He played Jango. And obviously, of course, he plays Boba now because he was a clone of Jango. It's one of the things where, like, making Boba a clone instead of just a kid of Jango worked out perfectly to be able to get this guy back to play Boba Fett later and really get to use him. But, we kind of start going back into the flashbacks now of Boba learning, and they do this whole montage of him learning with a stick and him failing for a bit and then eventually kind of getting the hang of it. And just the dedication Boba had of like, show me, you know, he kept telling him like, show me, and then having to keep doing it and keep getting his butt kicked, which for one of the best bounty hunters in the world probably is not a great feeling.
Yeah.
So very humbling for Boba Fett. But what was your thoughts as we kind of, I feel like we spend most of the episode in the flashbacks, right?
Yeah, I think honestly, when we were going back and rehashing out like the huts and stuff, that almost seemed like 2 episodes ago. It seemed like they seemed like different episodes, and I was really happy when I turned it on and it was 50 minutes. I hadn't been on Twitter, so I just come home from school. I turn it on. I'm like, come on, please be a longer one. Please be a longer one. And it was 50 minutes. And I was like, yes, this is going to be great. And it really did feel like 2 separate episodes. I mean, it felt, it set up nicely, and like, it was like vignettes. So it's like 2 vignettes, and it was, you know, the first one is talking about the present day Boba, but then it kind of flashes back into these like different kind of montages and different things like that, to where it's talking about, you know, Boba with the Tusken people. And from there, there's different things with the Tusken Raiders that happen that I think they wanted to focus on. And when directing the episode, I think that they did a really nice job of being able to piece all of that together, because it really did. It made you feel really, really bad for the Tusken Raiders. I never thought I'd ever say that in the history of all Star Wars. I never thought I'd feel bad for the Tusken Raiders, because they are usually ruthless as they're as they're portrayed in previous movies. So it's nice to put a nice spin on these people accepting Boba, even though his language is different, he looks different, he is different, and they've had bad experiences probably in the past with bounty hunters. So it's nice to see that. And like you said, Jordan, it's set up so nicely for that Western. It really did feel like Red Dead Redemption, like we were getting ready to get on the horses with the boys, and or at least the Land Cruisers, and just jump on and ride along across the train and try to, you know, shake it up a little bit. And I think one of my favorite action scenes so far has been when they reached that station. And it was like paced nicely. The flashbacks were great. And I now, like you said, last episode, I'm just craving flashbacks at this point.
It felt great too. Like, it kind of reminded me of Solo. Yeah, which I think is a very underrated Star Wars film. And like Solo had a lot of this, like, you know, when they're trying to get the coaxium and trying to, you know, get it on the train there. Like, this kind of has a lot of a similar feel, but like different, obviously. But yeah, so it had some similar vibes of that for me. But yeah, I really enjoyed like the flashbacks here as we get like Boba. I saw some people trying to say that this is like the white savior trope and stuff, and again, it's not. One, Tamora Morrison's not even white, but so that's you know,
people
whatever.
argue with you. People argue with you when they don't know what's actually that he's Kiwi.
what did, and he's Maori.
Right.
But you know what's so interesting about this is not him being a savior. He decides he's going to help them, right? Because he sees himself as part of them now. It's like his family, which he's never really had a family. But he is, you know, learning from their culture as much as he's teaching them his. And I think that is what's great. It's not like he's saying, you guys don't know what you're doing. Take my stuff and we'll do this. He learns how to fight from them, but then he's also like, okay, you're teaching me this stuff. You're giving me your water. You're giving me your land. You know, like, I'm living with you. I'm going to help you with this thing. And they're kind of doing this cultural exchange. And I think that is very interesting. And like you said, you know, the Tuskens are usually portrayed differently. And they are, you know, they'll kind of mention there's many different tribes, right? So like they all have their different ideals. He's ending up with I guess you would say, quote unquote, a good tribe. I don't know. They did have some slaves that they captured. So how good are they? I don't know. But it makes me wonder now too, when they took Anakin's mom? Was she digging for those watermelon things?
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
what did he call them? He called them like a melon or something.
Melon, or like a melon or a mallet or something like that. Yeah.
He kind of mentioned that. We thought they were like rocks.
I thought they were rocks.
Like, yeah, they have
Like
milk.
fruit.
He even said they had like milk. It's not water. So I thought that was very interesting. Yeah, so I wonder if that's what Shmi Skywalker was doing the whole time.
That's interesting.
You know, before she died. But you know, like you said, Anakin calls them animals. He says he slaughtered them like animals. But we see Boba, and we both see not just Boba, but we see Din Djarin treat them like people too. I mean, when he's not even just the season 2 premiere, but at some point in season 1, when he's traveling through their land and stuff, he is like talking to them in their language, and he's sitting with them around a campfire, and he's making conversation with them, and you're seeing that they're not that way. They must have had some bad experiences that have led them to taking these people that we don't know about, or maybe there's good tribes and bad tribes. We don't really know. But it's so much more interesting when Tusken Raiders are not just like, you know, like, I don't know what to say, that they're not just like reckless, I guess, or not just killing people. When they actually have depth and you get to see their culture, it makes them interesting. And it's making Boba more interesting because he's learning from them. He's willing to learn from them and also willing to teach them, as he's going to do when he sees the train stuff happen. And they lose quite a bit of Tuskens. And he says he's going to teach them how to do this. And he goes to Tashi Station. He goes and gets this biker gang, or I think they're credited as miners in the credits, but he's going to, you know, get these the swoop bikes, and he's going to take them back. But in Tashi Station, we get 2 characters named Cammy and Fixer, and I don't think they're actually named while you're watching it.
No, I don't think so, unless you probably were watching the... I could see, like, you know what I mean, like closed caption, maybe identifying them, but I don't think they ever, because I was like, who are they? Like, what? Why are they important?
Yeah, so Cammy and Fixer, they are, I don't know, childhood friends of Luke Skywalker. Now Fixer, Cammy nicknames Luke Wormy, which is a little weird nickname.
A little bit.
Which the Wikipedia says that it sometimes made Luke doubt the sincerity of the friendship that way. But yeah, she is in this Tashi Station, and they are all grown up now. And Fixer is the guy. He's the one that the biker gang is going to steal the drink of, and he's like, this is not right. This is not right. And ends up getting like beat up pretty much. But they really weren't in any sort of movie. They were filmed in 1977 for A New Hope. That scene was cut. There was a scene at Tashi Station with those 2 that were cut. I think they may have had some references in some books or comics, but this is the first time they've appeared on screen officially now. So just a fun little nod that these characters actually did exist.
That is
and
cool.
Just something fun. Yeah. They kind of go through hell here, though, but...
They'll get killed, but...
Yeah.
In these scenes, though, like in these action scenes, I love it when one person just goes absolutely ham on guys that he just... I mean, this just shows you how much Boba Fett has become a warrior, I guess, in a way. Like,
right.
He's much less of a bounty hunter now. He's much more of like, he's a warrior, and he's out for, I wouldn't say revenge, but he's out for justice. So, you know, I think he's tired of people just being run through in the galaxy. I don't think he likes the way that Boba or that Jabba ran things.
Right. Yeah. But we go ahead and we then get to their training and practicing. You know, Boba's trying to teach them how to ride the bikes and how to jump from bike to bike and go through this nice little training montage. And eventually it comes time where the train's here again and they're going to go attack it. What I liked here is we still have losses, you know, like there's still like a lot of times where early on in this fight with the train, like some of those people get sniped pretty easily. And you're like, no matter how much they were able to prepare for this, it's still tough to take on this train that just has guns out the window. You know, like it's very tough for them to do that. And we find out who's on the train, and it's the Pike Syndicate. These are people that were in the Clone Wars. They are a syndicate of pikes. That is a species, and they were also in Solo as some of the Pike Syndicate was in Solo as the same aliens were there at Kessel when they're trying to go into the spice mines. So it is all connected, as you would say. But they're going to take on the train. And I thought this whole fight scene was really great where, you know, they're jumping from the bike to the train, and then you have some of them going above the train. The one female Tusken that's been training Boba does this great move where she like goes almost in between the cars with her bike and is able to jump onto the thing while like the bike crashes into the train, splitting the train into two at like the connection point. And then she just like runs through the bottom, like taking out all of the people that are like poking their head out the top to take on Boba. And then eventually they're able to stop the train, and we get this weird conductor droid who's like got a million arms, pretty much going through all this stuff to make the train go. And Boba is able to get scares the droid out of there enough, and then the train is going to stop. And the Pikes try to play it cool. They're like, well, what's spice? When Boba asks what spice is, you know, the Tuskens drop it and some spice comes out. And he's like, well, it looks like that, you know?
Right.
And he pretty much brokers a deal with them of you're not able to travel over the Dune Sea anymore. This is their territory. Or if you do go through here, you have to like pay them something, you know? And or else they die, pretty much, is kind of like the gist here. And I thought it was really cool and very, you know, he didn't just stop the train. That could have been the simple thing. He also was able to broker a deal with them to make sure that this is not a problem going forward. And I want to ask you, is this a problem going forward? Do these people come back? As like, why is Boba going alone now? Does he lose this clan of sand people at some point?
I think eventually he breaks away from it. And I just don't know, like with them and then the people he's also sent back in the train, like what happens with them, because he tells them to walk and they're like, walk? What do you mean walk? That's my favorite part. But he's like, well, we'll die. We don't have water. And he's like, oh, you can drink out of the melons or whatever they were. But no, I do think like he gives them the nod of like satisfaction, like thank you for your help. I think it's going to be more of like him just, you know, leaving, and he loses them, but I think it's more of not necessarily like they go off and they come back after him or something. But I think eventually you see him move on and move forward. And I think that I don't even know what they call it. Like, I guess it's like the staff thing that he carries around that he's created. Yeah. I think that that's symbolic of that relationship and that time that he spent with them. And I think that that's always they've always done well when they pan up and it's on his back and shows that, you know, he's kind of collected the and the whole episode or the whole situation with how he becomes about getting that, which we'll talk about. I think that it just shows how much they respect him and that he's, I guess, like gone through the rites of passage with these people and he's earned their respect. And I think that's ultimately, it's, you know, it's crazy. It's ultimately what, I mean, the Mandalorian and the Tusken Raiders have built their society on, it seems, which is really weird to say, but like the trust factor and being able to rely on people and also rule with respect. I think that Tusken Raiders for so long were, you know, monstrous, but now I think you're starting to see other clans of the Tusken Raiders be civilized and actually care for people. So no, I think, yeah, he eventually leaves them, but all in good fun and all at the end, I think he respected by the Tusken Raiders.
I'm not so sure he leaves them. I think they might get killed.
Do you think so? That'd be wild.
I think either the Pikes come back due to this or something else happens, and maybe that
the mayor wipes them out.
Maybe.
With the huts. Ooh, could you imagine?
Somebody has to wipe him out, I think, that makes him go back. Because he's moving forward, but at a certain point, he's going to say, I need my armor back. I get my ship back. I go help Mando for a bit. Like, I think there's something there that might make him have to turn his back on the Tuskens. And they really focus a lot on the kid Tusken, and I wonder if something happens there. I'm not sure.
Which so you think? Do you think that he's? I guess because I'm trying to think now about like the present time. Do you think that he's concerned maybe that whoever's the one that's in charge of all these people coming after and threatening Boba, do you think that he's like, okay, these are the same people that killed the Tusken Raiders that I was with?
Or it could be something happened where he wants power to make sure that stuff never happens again or something.
I could see that.
Make peace with all of the communities. I don't know. It could be that after this train thing, and he gets the robes and he gets the stick, he moves on and everything's fine. But I don't know yet. Something bad could happen too, I guess. So now to actually become part of the tribe, they give him a lizard to guide his way here, and the lizard is going to go up his nose and be all psychedelic. And we get to see like Camino again, right? As Boba watches his dad leave on the ship, and then we have water, and then like the tree, and it somehow leads them to a tree where he's able to bring a branch, and when he does, they're going to turn that branch into the gaffy stick, and he's going to go somewhere almost to like an armorer who's going to help walk him through how to make the gaffy stick. And then they're going to give him the robes that we see him in at the end of season 2, episode 1, Mandalorian. When he's at the camera, he's wearing the black robes. He's got the belt on. Like, they give him that stuff. He's now officially part of their tribe. And we're almost caught up, I guess, right? Because at some point he's going to find Fennec Shand. He's going to save her. Then he's going to locate Cobb Vanth having the armor. He's going to see Mando with the armor. He's going to follow Mando off-world to get the armor. And then we're back where we are. So maybe we have... I don't know if these flashbacks are every episode.
Yeah.
Or if they kind of get wrapped up next week. Or maybe what happens is next week is still the episode that has the most flashbacks, and then episode 4, 5, 6, 7 less flashbacks each time as we're caught up now, and something like that.
Yeah, I agree. I think, like you said, I think the next one's focusing on maybe what happens in the end to them, and then maybe as he moves on from them, I could see like maybe 2 more episodes where it's more flashbacks. Like, because then he's got Fennec, and then maybe, do you think maybe we get some flashbacks of when he's with Mando but not with Mando? I mean, do we think that he gets, some airtime at least?
I don't know.
Like talking about Mando, not necessarily Mando being there, but do you think that with Jen, do you think maybe we get a conversation after he's been with the child? So
maybe.
I don't know.
I would think more so the flashbacks might end with whatever causes it. Like if he's not with the Tuskens when he picks up Fennec, whatever makes him think, I got to go get my armor now. Like that's what I want to know. Like what made him all of a sudden be like, I got to go get my armor now? Is it just that he found it and he's like, oh, I thought that was gone.
Right.
But I see Cobb Vanth wearing it. So now Cobb is given up to that guy. I got to go get it before it leaves Tatooine. If it's something like that, or if it's just something he was, maybe at that point he wasn't aware it was still existing, and he decided, I'm going to go get it now that I see that it's still around. But yeah, I mean, episode 2 ends with, they do a ritualistic ceremony with the gaffy stick. Tamora Morrison has talked about this a bit, where he wanted to really input a lot of Maori lifestyle in here. And this seems like that's where this came from, with the kind of dance around the fire with the gaffy sticks. And I thought that was really, really cool. And I mean, I don't know. I just thought this episode was great. And like you said, 50 minutes. I didn't know it was that long either. I got a little bit into it and I was like, wait a minute, I didn't check how long this was. I was like 4 minutes into it or something. And I was like, I didn't check how long this was. I pressed pause and saw 50 minutes and I was like, yes, all right. Well, this is going to be great. But yeah, I was able to watch it kind of earlier in the day than usual too, because working from home this week. So I was able to get right into it. We were watching it like the same time pretty much.
Yeah, we were. Yeah. Like, yeah, I think
cool.
you were like 10, 15 minutes behind me, but it was,
pretty much.
It was like, I don't think we've ever had the chance to like be right behind each other watching really anything.
You're usually watching it hours ahead of time.
Yeah.
You get off school earlier.
Right. That's great. It's wonderful.
So what do we think's next? They kind of mentioned that they would have to get approval to kill the Hutts. I'm assuming they're talking about like maybe other gangs would have to give approval, or the mayor. I'm not really sure what they mean by that, but what do you think is next? Because it does seem like we have a lot to wrap up in the present day still. We still have 5 episodes, so we got plenty of time to get to that, as I feel like a lot of the flashbacks are starting to wrap up as we're almost caught up to where we are. What do you think is the goal here for Boba? Obviously, he wants to be the crime lord. How does he take down the Hutts? Or does he have to take down the mayor? Like, what is it you think that ends this series? Like, or even next week? What happens that gets us closer to the end?
Okay, so I think you kind of talked me into the fact that, I do think something happens to that tribe that he's with. I think something bad happens maybe to the leader, to some of them that he's just unforgiving about. But I also think maybe, I was starting to think maybe that they're kind of building, because Moff Gideon is technically dead, right? So I don't know. Like, are they trying to build, because you said that they were talking in talks about having these all collide in something much bigger. If that's going to be the case, maybe, just maybe, they're building something that is even above what we're going to actually see be resolved in this series. Like, I think maybe we're going to get, obviously, something's got to give. It's got to be something monumental, I think, or big, because they are going to meet up again with Jen. And I do think, Den, I did it again. I always do that. When you meet up with Den, there's going to have to be something. And I do think that there's a bigger puppet master. I just feel like this is all strange, because I just still feel like there's a lot of stuff. Yeah. It feels very strange, and almost they're caught in webs and stuff. Like, I don't know. It just seems something's weird. I don't know what it is. Like, I think this is bigger than the Hutts. Do I think that the Hutts are the thing? No, I think that those twins are just kind of the evil people of this show. I think they're going to focus a lot on the Black Chewbacca. I don't know his name, but I think that they're going to focus on them.
Black Chrysanthemum.
What?
Black Chrysanthemum.
Black Chrysanthemum.
Yep, that's literally his name is Black Chrysanthemum.
That's awesome. I love that. But I do think like they're going to be the focus of like initially just getting rid of them, maybe just get rid of the mayor. But I think maybe even the mayor has somebody above him that's paying a puppet master. Because I'm not convinced that it's just this. Something's up, and I think Boba knows something's up. I think he thinks something's weird. Like this isn't right. Something's a little off. And it is funny though because I think Mando was much more righteous, and I think Boba is still a crime lord. Like he's still a crime lord.
Exactly.
He's running the crime ring. I think that's interesting too. Like I think that's an interesting dynamic.
For all the people that say he's like neutered now, he right. wants to be a crime boss.
Yes.
He just wants to rule with respect.
Right.
Okay.
He just wants to rule with respect. And if you
hear that from Italian mobsters all the time anyway.
Yeah. So. You're family until you're not family.
Yeah. Yeah, so for me,
Grogu's the puppet master.
Yeah. For me, I mean, this is what Boba, this is who Boba is now. And I think it's great. I really enjoy where they're taking his character. I think it's very interesting to see where they go with it. Mm-hmm. But I don't know. I guess we'll see. I think next week will clue us in a little bit more on where this story is going in the next, in the 7 episodes that we have. So we've done 2, so we'll have 5 left. After next week, we'll have 4. We'll be just shy of halfway. And I think at that point, we'll be able to kind of know where maybe this is all heading. Right.
I'm excited. This has been a great, great show so far. So I'm really excited to see where they head with it. And it's not even halfway through, so we're going to get a lot more character development. And I'm ready for more Fennec too.
Yeah, she's been not in it a lot here. Yeah. Which makes me think maybe we will see him discover her injured and save her, and we might get some more good Fennec stuff there too.
Maybe some backstory as to who she is too.
Right. All right. Well, if you want to give us a follow, if you made it this far, you want to give us a follow at podawakens on Twitter, facebook.com/podawakens, Instagram @podawakens, or email us podawakens@gmail.com to share your thoughts. You can rate and review us on iTunes, and now Spotify even allows ratings and reviews. So go ahead and do that. It helps people find our show. And we'll catch you next time as we talk episode 3 of the Podawakens, not of the Podawakens, of the Book of Boba Fett. And we'll catch you all next time.
I have spoken.
It's over, Anakin!